So we're going to be encouraging a shifting of paradigms this weekend. And in order to allow that to happen, we have to start sort of fresh and new. Some of you have sat down like professional meditators and are often running. But in any activity that we do habitually every day, you'll find that the certain parts of it are exactly on course, and then other parts you've just neglected. And in order for us to recover those neglected parts, it's very helpful to refresh our whole attitude and disposition to the direction meditation is going. I don't know, when you any activity like brushing your teeth or any activity, cleaning your room, you'll find when you do it habitually every so often, you get certain parts clean and other parts are left and neglected, right? I remember as a monk, we would have cold water baths, and so I wasn't so interested in staying a long time within these baths. So you'd wash yourself pretty quickly and then move on. But after a number of months of that, I looked down and there was a big strip of unattended skin that was kind of grimy on the back of my heel that I couldn't see in the normal course of taking a bath. And I'm using this as an example of areas of ourselves that go unattended when we just do a habitual response. And meditation is, or can be, an habitual response. You sit down, you know exactly what you're doing, and pretty much the direction is correct, but there are ways and areas that need attention and a little more scrutiny for us to be able to move this thing forward. And it only takes one small area of inattention to loop you back into the old paradigm. Okay? So that's how subtle our practice has to be in moving forward. Now, for a long period of time, you don't really care about moving into a new paradigm. Your practice is very much moving in the direction you intended. It's serving you well. It's giving you a certain peace and quiet and allowing some stability of consciousness, and you're seeing things and having insights, and that is all within a reasonable response to the meditation. But at a more mature level, there's a growing sense that it isn't complete. It isn't a complete message. That I'm leaving something behind here. My life is improving, my mind is quieting, but something isn't being attended to. And we keep falling back into the same responses, the same views of life, the same ways that we react in situations. And even those may become smoother over time, less coarse, still it feels as if the spiritual journey hasn't completed itself in some way. So I'm speaking both then to the beginner and orienting them in a clear alignment to the meditation, but also to the more experienced practitioner and hopefully their willingness to sort of go back even further and see what needs to be fleshed out that may not have been. In order to do that, we need to know the circumstances of the old paradigm and how it holds us in place, how it freezes ourselves into a kind of adaptive attitude to life. And let me just show you what an experienced meditator looks like when they're adapting to a situation. And you tell me, or inside yourself, you tell yourself whether this is if this is true to your situation in your meditation. And if it's so, then it's not quite fulfilled. Okay? So you're sitting, and the expectation is that we are in a quiet setting, and the person next to you is rustling. Is probably a new meditator, and you're feeling the irritation of his or her movement, because in your expectation, the room is supposed to be quiet. And yet at the same time, as an experienced meditator, you know that the irritation needs to be released. So you do an inward monologue or dialogue with yourself that says something like, okay, so he's wrestling. So okay, he's a new meditator. Just give him the benefit of the doubt. So let me relax this out. Okay, so I'm feeling a little better now, although he's still moving. And I'll give him 5 minutes here, but then I don't know, I'm changing places. But the irritation is growing in me. I feel it. Okay, let me feel the irritation. Let me relax the tension. Relax the tension. He's still moving. Okay, now don't get upset about it. I can do it. And on it'll go. And you look from somebody else is sitting behind you like the Buddha. But inside there's anything less than the Buddha. Okay? So that's what an adaptive response looks like in meditation. Okay, now listen to this. Meditation is not about an adaptive response. You see? Okay, so I will explain what I just said. But in the meantime, I want you to get a sense of where it is that we're not dusting properly in our room. If you just follow the metaphor. We have to get a sense that this thing is much more complete than perhaps how we've gauged it or moved it forward here. This isn't an inward dialogue to ourselves, where we're talking ourselves out of a reaction. It is a release into a new paradigm in which reaction is not occurring, because we are now in alignment with the truth of life rather than trying to work our way into the truth of life. And that's how far amiss we can go. And I have found this to be kind of a central point for many, many years in meditation. We hear the words, letting go, surrender, etc. But the application of those words, we don't actually apply them. We think it'll come someday, maybe. But it doesn't come. Not unless we orient our practice in complete synchronicity to that new paradigm. Which means that the way we sit is within the new paradigm. It's not within the old. The old paradigm is full of argument, is full of self-centeredness. I'm sitting here and the person next to me is rustling around. That's a self-centered behavior. The new paradigm reconfigures, reorients oneself entirely to non-separation. We can't talk ourselves out of separation. We can't argue our way out of separation. We can't struggle our way out of separation. Those are strategies within the old paradigm. Those are the ways we problem solve within the old paradigm. That's how we accomplish things in the normal and consensual way we view reality. I have a problem. I need to get over this. Let me figure it out. Okay, I just need to get this. As soon as that person stops, or I can move, or here are my options. That's the old paradigm. Okay? And that's where most of us land in our meditation. And we can stay there virtually forever. Because, as I mentioned, good things are happening. It's not that life isn't becoming smoother and more easily adapted. It's just that the sense of separation never changes. It never leaves us. More subtle sense of self-centeredness, but still self-centeredness. And we try to offset that self-centeredness with doing good work. But we're doing good work in order to offset the self-centeredness, which is still self-centeredness. So I'm challenging you here, see. I will never come here and not challenge you. Never. And even if there were only one person left to come, to arrive, only one person willing to attend, I'll still do it. Because I don't have that many years left. And I want to impart the possibility to all of us here. And so the instructions throughout this weekend, and they grow in depth from Saturday to Sunday, will be to challenge our practice. And to challenge our practice, we have to start new. We have to start fresh. We have to look at this thing in a completely different way. Not just sit down, close our eyes, and go back to whatever it is that we've been doing. Okay, so the journey is on. Bon voyage.